Hello everybody, welcome to the Horsey Jargon Buster. Now we're going to start at the very beginning and give you the words that you need to know around horses. What is the number one question that we're asked at the ranch? Well, it's what's the difference between a horse and a pony? Now the answer is size. Horses are bigger, ponies are smaller. Okay, but how big and how small? So what is the actual cut-off point between a horse and a pony? Now that's a very good question. And to answer this one, we need to understand how horses are measured. Now for centuries, horses have been measured in the old-fashioned measurement called a hand, and you may have heard this, that a horse is so many hands high. It's written like this, so it would have little HH, so you'd say a horse was 15 hands high. So what does that mean? Well, in the old days there weren't measure tapes, and so the hand was used, and it was the hand actually including the thumb, okay, which was taken to be 4 inches. Now, Henry VIII actually standardised this and made it actually 4 inches. So horses have been measured in hands for centuries. So how do you do it? Well, you get your horse or your pony and you stand him on a nice flat piece of ground so that he's level, okay? You then measure from the ground right up to the top of his highest point on his back, which is called the wither, okay? So at the top here, the wither. And you physically measure the number of hands. Okay, so a division of the hand is called an inch. So your horse could be, say, 10 hands, 2 inches. Okay. So the official cut-off between a horse and a pony is 14 hands and 2 inches. 14 hands, 2 inches. Anything above 14 hands, 2 inches is a horse, and anything below 14 hands, 2 inches is a pony. Okay, now these measurements are used in most English-speaking countries, but in Europe they sometimes use centimetres to measure the height. They don't use the old-fashioned system, but generally in Britain, America, Canada, Australia, you're going to find horses being measured in hands. So, are there any exceptions to this rule? Well, yes, confusingly, 1 or 2. Okay, perhaps the one that's most relevant to us up at Shetland Pony Club is that it's not correct to actually describe a Shetland in hands. Because they're so small, you just use inches. So if somebody is describing a Shetland pony to you, they would tell you his height in inches. Now, our Shetland ponies can range from actually Dinky, who's only 32 inches, which would be 8 hands, okay, up to Ted, who is 42 inches, which is, in the old measurement, 10 hands too. Now, that's the maximum height a Shetland can be. If he's over 42 inches, he's not a Shetland, okay? So that's the cut-off for Shetlands, up to 42 inches. Now, there are a couple of other places where you may come unstuck on the size of ponies, so I'm just going to tell you those. Okay, you might be lucky enough to be invited to a polo match and you're watching the polo ponies gallop up and down. And you might be thinking, well, they don't look like ponies to me. They're quite big. And you are right. Okay, polo ponies are actually over 14 too. So why is this? Okay, well, this is a historical reason. When polo was first played back in the 1800s, you did actually have to play on a little pony. They started the game on a little pony who was below 14 hands too. After a while, they decided that actually they needed to ride bigger horses, and so the height restriction was lifted. People couldn't play polo on bigger horses, but they still kept the word. It's got a nice ring to it, hasn't it? Polo pony. So the word polo pony refers to a horse, and he's probably around 15 hands. Okay, so he's 15 hands to about 15.3. All right, so polo ponies. That's the first exception. Now, another place where you may actually come unstuck on the horse pony thing is if you're lucky enough to go to Iceland, and lots of people do nowadays. Iceland's very popular tourist destination, and you go to see, or maybe even ride, some of their beautiful horses. And you'll be looking at them and thinking, gosh, they're quite small, they're not much bigger than Shetlands. Why aren't they called ponies? And you are right. Now, it's just a cultural thing in Iceland. They don't like the word pony. We often think of pony as an endearing, nice word, but they don't like it. And so they always refer to the Icelandic pony as a horse, okay? So if you're in Iceland, just remember that one, and then you'll get on really well. Okay. Phew, so there's quite a lot to learn about size, isn't there? So just to recap, just remember, a horse is measured in hands, okay? If he is over 14.2 hands high, he's a horse. If he's under 14.2, he's a pony. Shetland ponies are measured in inches only and can be up to 42 inches high. And the two exceptions that you might come across is a polo pony, who is actually a horse, and an Icelandic horse, who is actually a pony. Glad we've got that straight.